we stop doing it in times of budget cuts, and sometimes that may or may not make sense in the short term, but it makes absolutely no sense in the long term, because you save $1 million here and it costs you $8 million there. So at the end of the decade, right, you're worse off than you were before. So James is someone that kind of came up with that idea to say, you know what, let's start investing in our future. Yes, we know we have a lot of needs. Yes, we know there's a lot of priorities, but let's try and be smart how we invest our funds. So hopefully I know that's going to go very well this year, and I hope the city council, working with the city manager and his department heads, will make sure there's money allocated next year to bring our streets up to par. But overall, I thought the budget process went very well. Now, at our council meeting earlier this week, something topical, there was an item on the agenda that I co-sponsored again with Councilmember Johnson and Mayor Foster and Councilmember Garcia, and it has to do with the labor negotiations with the IAM. As you might recall, police and fire came to the table. You know, they were one of the first to come to the table and do some meaningful pension reform. The IAM, we came close within the last month or so. They voted down the change, which would have provided some additional money in this year's budget as well as next year's. So what we've done is we're looking at putting an item on the ballot for the voters to vote on. It will be, I'll say, similar to San Jose and San Diego, but different. But what we'll look at is some direction from the citizens of Long Beach of what direction you'd like us to take. The most interesting thing about it is we are proposing rolling back employee compensation for that group. I would tell you for the last 2 or 3 years, that's always a question that I've asked in the city council closed session discussions as we negotiate labor contracts, just to bring it up and say, you know, one of these days, it's not just going to be reducing raises or contributing more to pensions, but I do see a day where, not saying unfortunately, but I do see a day where we're actually going to, you know, sit across the desk from an employee and say, you know, you've done great, excellent performance last year, really value everything you do, and in return, we'd like to give you a 4% decrease in your pay. And I'll tell you, I've been in the private sector for 35 years, and certainly some years have been better than others, and yes, there's been years with no raises, but I've never had that conversation with an employee to say, you've done a great job, and we're going to cut your pay to show you how highly we think of you. And we're there. I think we're there. So that will be an interesting conversation in the community once it goes out on the ballot. So there'll be a lot of dialogue, and then you'll tell us what direction you think we ought to go in. So that's it. Those are my remarks. Randy.
Will you take some questions?
Sure, I'll take questions.
Could you tell us what is happening with the right-hand lane turn, the dedicated lane?
Oh, you meant with Mike Conway take questions. I misunderstood your question.
That's for him.
Mike, what the hell is happening at that intersection?
That was on his list.
Wait, let me get the bullseye.
We know what it is.
Excuse me.
Would you like me to go on the next question?
No,
No, I'm prepared. So, let me start out by
Are we ahead of schedule?
let me start out by saying that I started on that project when I came to the city in 2001. So the council person asked if we're on schedule.
They told me we were ahead of schedule last week.
It wasn't intended to be this long, but it is an incredibly complicated project. It involves condemnation of 3 different property owners. It involves a portion of Pacific Coast Highway that has 120 years of pipeline construction, unknown pipelines below the surface. We had a contractor that, in my opinion, failed to perform, whom we terminated, and now we're in litigation with. We had to re-bid this project. We had Caltrans, who decided about halfway through the project that they wanted us to add a storm drain. That storm drain of which created more vertical conflicts subsurface that cost us easily 6 months, 9 months in redesigning this project at their request. And when we were close to getting that resolved, SCE had a problem. I don't know if you've noticed they've had a couple of outages there. They've identified some significant improvements that they needed to also complete before we could get back onto the property and complete our improvements. I'm pleased to say SCE is behind us. We now have a schedule moving forward that I don't see any conflicts in completing. And we expect to have the project, it's currently scheduled to be completely done by November 9th, just a couple of months away.
let me ask you this, is there anything that could have gone wrong that hasn't?
I've got 2 months yet.
So something could
Is
come
that
up.
November night this year?
Thank
or is
you.
it-
Thank you. Gary, I have another one
For him or for me?
for you.
Well, we'll see. Go ahead.
I think it's for you. What's happening with that land right there, the Hofsut, Albertsons, and the bank? There's been in the paper that we've lost Albertsons. We're losing the bank? Are we losing Hofsut? You know, Albertsons is a local
Yes,
market for
yes,
many of us.
Yes,
so
yes, and no.
Yes, yes, and no.
So yes, Albertsons is going to be replaced by Gelson's. The bank, I think, is going to be replaced by a CVS. Hofstud is remaining. They've made a proposal to the city. It's been, I don't say rejected, but it hasn't been processed. We found it a little pedestrian. We think that this neighborhood could have something a little better from aesthetically appealing, so staff looked at that and said, no, you could do better. So we sent it back to the developer. I had a meeting with them and the city manager maybe 3 weeks ago to talk about the project. So the ball is back in their court to come up with something a little more aesthetically appealing to our residents, and then we will move forward.
So the bank is moving then?
If I recall the plan correctly, my recollection was the bank will not be there and that will be replaced by a CVS. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I'm positive about the Gelson's replacing Albertsons.
Okay. And then the last question is, where are we in the PCH Second Street project? The hotel.
They submitted revised plans, I want to say maybe 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. It would be an all retail development. It would fit within the zoning envelope. No variances would be required, and they would conform to the existing land use. And I want to say it was around 230,000 square feet.
Okay.
I'm okay with follow up on that one. A little frown. Your concern is?
So the hotel is not there?
Out.
The hotel is gone.
No, because what the developer wants to do is stay within zoning.
Okay.
So just stay within that envelope.
Retail.
And retail is what it's zoned for. 2 stories, 30% open space, conform within all the zoning that's there for CDM.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
I thought they could go 4 stories,
35 feet.
That's 2 stories.
3 stories. Depending on parking on the bottom though.
Depends on how you design it. I guess 35 feet is technically the CDM limitation. So I guess as many stories you could fit.
I'm surprised, it doesn't seem to me that that retail would be, who would want to build a bunch more retail right now? I don't understand that.
We don't either. I mean, candidly, I think we were better off with a smaller, shorter, mixed-use development.
They would be too.
Like, I'll just put it out there that I think that alternative 4 was kind of the one that I liked the best out of the things that were put forward. It was 6 stories. I don't remember the square footage anymore, but I'll say maybe it was 150 or 175,000 square feet, maybe.
Of retail.
Yeah, of retail. So it was, and it still had some hotel element to it. It still had some townhouse or condominium element to it. It was less and it was shorter. I thought that was probably a better solution for everyone than this. But I think at this point they're gun shy. They just don't want to ask for anything. You know, just whatever the rules are, we'll just play by them.
So then two kind of follow-up questions here. What is the process from here? I mean, would there be any public hearing?
Oh yes.
And then second, what's the status of the CDIP revision?
Well, so to your first question, yes, just because it fits within the zoning envelope doesn't mean you still don't have to have all the public hearings through planning commission, through city council, et cetera. You're still gonna have all of that. They should just be less contentious because they're not asking for a long list of variances this time. They still have all the public hearings. In regards to CDIP, you know, I am very disappointed to tell you that, you know, I'll remind you that the action was taken on December 23rd of last year, right, which when the council turned the project down and said, let's update CDIP. And you know, we're into September 20th. We haven't formed a committee yet.
Why?
Wow.
The staff stands. I've asked. We got the money, we got the funding, we got a $1 million grant.
What do they say?
Busy, lots of things to do, it's not going well. I'm being honest with you, it is not going well. we kind of talked about a committee, making sure different neighborhood associations and landowners and trying to put that together, who'd be the steering committee on this. But then we were waiting for the funding, have to make sure we have the money in hand. And I was like, well, you could do a lot of process before you have dollars in place. Let's get ready to go. And now I believe we're very close to having the dollars, and we don't have a plan. So I don't have a better answer. I've certainly made it a priority and pushed it, but we can only push so hard. Let me go to Art. He had got a hand up, and then I'll come back over here. And then Linda's back.
I just noticed the videotape person here, it's not Dan Alverson, and there's been a lot of publicity about tracking and all that.
Yes.
And I just want to say, I think we live in a great country where someone from the opposite party can come in, record it, and I saw her at the Beat Festival with
Yes,
this
it
event. Same deal, so I think it's handled it with dignity.
No, I'm happy to have it. Obviously, I feel a little differently about it when you're taping my 6-year-old, right? Than being here in a public meeting with all of you. Certainly I'm happy to have anything that I say here be repeated. There's no worry about that. Bill?
Back to your slurry comment.
Yes.
Just to advise everybody, you slurried Winslow over 4 years ago, and it's still great. So I think the slurry process.
And interestingly, let's talk about that. When we did that, we did not think it was going to go very well. Winslow was very deteriorated, but the residents were extraordinarily unhappy. We didn't have money to do a repave job, and we kind of said, let's just throw a Band-Aid on it and hope we didn't, waste taxpayer funds, but let's just give it a try and see what happens. So we are thrilled that it actually served pretty well and lasted 4 years. But what you'll see is when Mike does his proposal for these slurry seals around the city, he's going to take streets that haven't degraded too bad, but by putting it on them, it'll make sure they don't degrade, so it becomes an expensive project.
I live on Winslow and watch it every day. My wife looks out the window and it's great.
Thank you.
I gotta give you some credit on a similar kind of thing. In Belmont Shore and Naples, when you got the federal dollars to put the bike path in, you got federal dollars to do a slurry seal of the street there. So
Yes, we did.
We preserved the roadway in that area of town for a number of years.
And Second Street was a great example because it was getting to the point where it was going to need some work. It wasn't quite there yet, but putting the slurry seal in easily gave it 5, 7, 10 years life, easily to do that. Melinda?
Do we know anything about the pumpkin patch, the Lion property?
I know that they had, I think I have this right, they had filed a development permit, I just want to say maybe January or February timeframe, if I remember correctly, after the council meeting, but my recollection is they pulled it. So I do not believe that there is any well, I'm sure there'll be some development, but there's nothing in the pipeline. There's nothing that staff is looking at or working on for that parcel today. But that can certainly change without notice, and no doubt will. Dan, and then I'll come back this way.
Suggestion for Mike, and this might kind of extend your timeline a little bit.
Oh, no.
Dinner's had you forget it, but go ahead.
No.
In regards to PCH, could it be a consideration to take out the left-hand turn lane that goes, if you're heading northbound, to take out the left-hand turn lane that goes into the first section of the AMC or the Marina Pacifica, and extend the left-hand turn lane all the way back so that you can have more vehicles in the left-hand turn lane, because it piles up really fast, and by doing so, you've got your clog point right there.
And actually, I think that was raised by the council office a couple of years ago. We floated that by Caltrans. Caltrans said no. It is a Caltrans right of way.
Okay.
We liked it equal at that time, and we still like that suggestion today. I think Linda, and then Margaret.
I worked there for 30 years.
Is the issue still relevant that there needs to be a change in the timing mechanisms for the lights to increase the flow of traffic through the Second and PCH area? And if it still needs to be done, why, in heaven's name, while we're doing all this stuff, where you're down there with the wires and all the rest of that stuff, can't those darn lights be
Well, I think what you're talking about.
synchronized?
Yes, is synchronization between the relevant traffic signals in the area. And do you remember on the top of your head, I mean, we've talked about this.
There were a couple of intersections, one of them on Marine
Student.
Street, I believe, that you had trouble getting through one light and then getting through the
Right.
left turn lane, which is in our control. The lights on PCH are in Caltrans control, and this is right at the end of their jurisdiction. When they go into Orange County, it changes into another jurisdiction, and they have had increasing problems at the tail end of their synchronization program for these lights, and they do on occasion get out of synchronicity. Even with that problem, it's something that we can't control.
Yeah, but they did tell you to make the drainage ditch bigger, or
Yes,
whatever
they
the
did.
heck.
Yes, the
So-
direction comes this way, it doesn't go that way. I know that we have made significant improvements. I know that we've upgraded the technology, they've upgraded their technology, Caltrans has. We've upgraded our technology at Second and Marina Drive. It was on the list to upgrade Studebaker and Second Street. I don't remember if that's been done, but I can tell you in the last 3 years, we've probably done, I'm gonna say 75% of the amount of synchronization we can do, but I do think there are some piece parts remaining. But your question is, should we do it now? They've already put fiber in and they've upgraded the technology in that intersection. So there isn't any capital investment we need today that hasn't been done. We're almost there. But when you expand the intersection, that's where we think you're gonna see a tremendous improvement. Because then you can also play with the lights, and if you can get more throughput going south, then you can give the east-west direction more green time. So let's see how it goes, but we are very optimistic that you're gonna see a significant improvement in the intersection.
Yes, back to the budget. I
Yes.
just wanted to publicly thank you, Gary, on behalf of the Library Foundation and the library for, really trying to understand the challenges and the details. And that doesn't always happen in the political process. And you really made an effort, both in the public meetings as well as in lots of meetings behind the scenes, to understand your constituents' points of view. And thank you. The library has huge challenges, but we want to work with you. So really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I think Margaret's a little, we had some weekend conversations as we were trying to figure this out. I knew that Margaret was somebody that I could go to that certainly represented the community, understood the libraries, and helped me get a little educated as we try to figure out what our options were to restoring services, but do it in the most cost-effective way possible. So you're a great partner on that.
Back at you.
All right. Anything else before we move on to Randy? Yes.
Just a quick question, Gary. On the CDIP revisions, what is the source of funding on the $1 million grant?
It was a state grant.
There's
Did
a
you write a
state
chance for? I don't remember. I don't remember which state agency it
Okay,
was.
and when you say they are not moving forward, who actually is supposed
Us,
to be
Long
over
Beach.
city?
Our city staff, Development Services.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Randy.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Our summer season for the lifeguards is officially over. Typically, the day after Labor Day, we stop staffing our lifeguard stations on the beach. But due to the great weather we're having, we are continuing to staff lifeguards as needed. The hot weather brought some extraordinary attendance to our beaches this summer, and that meant some incredible numbers as far as swimming rescues. Our lifeguards made over 2,900 swimming rescues this summer in 3 months. So, doing an incredible job keeping your beaches safe. We had a nice grand opening at the Colorado Lagoon, and after our grand opening, we've staffed the lagoon for about 2 weeks there at the end of summer, and lifeguards made 10 swimming rescues at the Colorado Lagoon. But it's truly going to be the jewel of our city. The water quality there is unbelievable. We've done a fantastic job. It's a really nice place, and it's great to see families and actually swimming groups come back to Colorado Lagoon and utilize that. It's fantastic. I think the last time I was here, I was talking to you all about the junior lifeguard program and how proud I am of that. And the lasting event is their Stud Ironman. We had 358 junior lifeguards attempt the Stud Ironman, which is 4 miles of running and 2 miles of swimming. They start at first place on the beach, and they run to 72nd place. They swim every lifeguard tower buoy along the way, including Belmont Pier. These are kids that are from 9 years old to 17. We had, of the 358 that started, we had 290 finish, and we had 178 that made it under 2 hours, which they earn a T-shirt, which is their grand trophy of the year. So if I could see these kids on the first day of junior lifeguards, and they lack confidence, and they are scared, they are afraid of the cold water, and by the end of the program we have 178 that are completing a 4-mile run and a 2-mile swim in 2 hours. It's pretty incredible.